welcome to Daily 5 for Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. I recently found out about a movie from the Cynthia Rothrock catalog that I don't recall ever hearing about before, and I'm 99% sure I've never seen it because I didn't remember anything about it when I was watching it. But the film, as is often the case with Hong Kong films, has many titles, but the one for the Eureka Video release, which I picked up, the front of it you will see says Lady Reporter, aka The Blonde Fury. Now, I have also seen that the movie is called Righting Wrongs 2, or Above the Law 2, or just The Blonde Fury. It really doesn't matter. When it comes to movies like this, they often have multiple titles. But like I said, Eureka has Lady Reporter as the primary title, so I'm just going to go with that. This is a 1989 Hong Kong action film where Cynthia Rothrock is put into the lead role. Now, she, of course, had been in movies before this, but very often she was either the co-lead or, depending on how you look at it, was kind of a secondary lead. But this one, she is really the star of the film. She is the primary person in the primary role, does almost all the fighting, and there is not a co-star or another lead who is either doing same amount of fights or more fights as her. So this is considered her first leading role. And I'm sort of surprised that this movie doesn't have a higher rating on some of the lists I've seen for Rothrock films. I mean, in a sense, I somewhat understand it. I guess if you're coming into this movie for the story and kind of the way the narrative works, it might rank a little lower, but I'll be honest, I don't really come into movies like this for the story. It's nice if it's understandable, which Lady Reporter has a lot going on. There are times where I somewhat lost track of what was happening, but I felt like that was more of a editing problem where they just dropped characters. Look, in the end, it depends. If you're coming into this for a complete film, okay, maybe it will rank further down for you. This is certainly not Yes, Madam or Righting Wrongs in that respect. But if you're coming in here, as I do, to watch Cynthia Rothrock demonstrate her magnificent abilities in fight choreography, then this is definitely one of her better films. She has, I believe, 5 fights throughout the movie, and they're pretty nicely spaced. The pacing is fairly good, where they know, okay, we've gone a while without a fight, let's get a fight in here. They escalate the fights. There's 2 at least very, very well done vertical fights. One is on a building scaffolding type of set, and the other is inside a warehouse with a large netting that people are fighting and running up and down, which looks highly dangerous. I can imagine one bad step there and you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And I know there's one stunt that she did that she was, well, she's not really clear on what the injuries were. I mean, I'll talk about it on Friday when we get into it, but boy, some of the stuff I read about these people and the stuff the risks they took with their bodies just blows my mind. I mean, it looks fantastic, don't get me wrong, but wow. So if you're coming in and you're looking, I'm not going to even try to compare it to something like Righting Wrongs or Yes, Madam. Those as films themselves are classics. And so, yes, this is definitely going to be a lesser entry to that. But certainly compared to a lot of the American films she was in, and even some other films that were not American, the fact that this really puts her front and center and she has some very well done fights, I think merits it a higher spot than I think a lot of other people are putting it in when they come to lists and rankings. I had a great time with it. I was very happy I picked it up. It is a Region B release, which if you have a Region Free player, that's fine. But I assume there's going to be an American version out at some point. I'll probably buy that and pass this one on to somebody else. But right now, Eureka Video, which is a British company, if you buy it, just be aware that it won't play on region-locked Blu-ray players. So just that warning there. But when you get to see it, however you get to see it, it is absolutely an essential Rothrock film. I put this pretty high in my estimations as far as, I mean, she's been in a lot of movies, but particularly I think this is still better than most of her American films, which really just never knew how to use her properly, which is a shame, at least in most of them. And this one really figured out and utilized her correctly, and I think she's really good in it. And again, there's a couple of really spectacular fights when it comes to the verticality, where they're fighting up and down structures, and that's just wonderful. When you see this stuff and you think about how much planning, rehearsal, and risk is involved in some of these fight scenes, it really just is a mind-blowing example of athletic and choreography and everything that makes these movies so great. So again, for the things I come into a Cynthia Rothrock film for, this one delivers. I mean, delivers in just about every way I could possibly hope. So again, 1989, Lady Reporter, Blonde Fury, Righting Wrongs 2, whatever, you'll see the link to it. Great movie if you've never seen it, like I somehow missed it. Worth seeing right away. Later.